Welcome to another glorious episode of Baby Daddies, the podcast reviewing For the Love of Dilfs Season 2. We are joined this week by, dare I say, one of my favorite cast members. It's the twins and then you. Nigel Battle is here with us today. How are you, Nigel?
Listen, your multi-sonic Baby Daddy is here. I am so excited. You guys are doing an amazing job. I'm like so honored to be part of this right now. I'm excited.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you here. Amario, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today. My cat cuts are healing that I last talked about in our other episode. I'm healing. Work is finished for the week. I learned about my raise and my bonus, so I am very happy.
I thought you said you learned about your race. I was like, okay, come on, 23andMe.
Oh my God. Being an African queen is the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm screaming. So we started this episode off. The daddies are talking elimination. Anthony and Dr. Ed are talking about the target that is definitely on their backs. You know what I mean? Kane kind of comes forward and says that Nick influenced him a bit, which makes sense because they were kind of paired up before that. And then Kane starts to feel a little shafted. He feels like people are trying to look out for him when he doesn't need that. And he's like, I want to be able to make that decision for myself, which I understand. But personally, I feel that's contradictory to the whole like byline of the show. The whole point is that other people are supposed to see your connection not working out and then vote on it, you know? What were your thoughts, Nigel, going into that last episode's elimination?
All of that was really hard for me because I was so close with Kane, and I really don't even know how that happened. Like that was basically based off of like auras and energy. Like I saw him in the room, it was kiki like from the beginning. And with that being said, when I started to have my experience with Rico, he was rooting for me and happy for it and wanted the same thing. And I was like, you know what? Like I said in the scene, I was like, if there's any chance that this can work with Nick, that's why I ended up like doing what I did and everything. Because I was just like, I wanted the best for Kane so much because I got close with him so fast.
And you actually touch on that a bit on the episode. And I have a note here that says that about how you say you understand Kane wanting the chance to see it through. Yeah, which I did appreciate that. We also have here Jimmy saying that he was blinded by Nick's looks. Do you think that was a factor in how Kane was perceiving everything?
You know what? Probably, yeah. Nick is a beautiful guy, and that's part of there's the charm, there's a personality, and then there's the looks. I guess it was a mixture of it all, and then plus just your experience with that person. But you know, looks are the first thing you see. So, I mean, that's definitely part of it.
That's true. And Kane says something great here. He's like, well, you guys saved me, but you also kind of fucked me because now I have to find something literally today or else I'm going home, which he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, check out the new Himbo. I was like, yes, girl.
Yeah, it was tough. I got to say, like, you know, the one thing that doesn't really get shown a lot are the friendships. So mind you, this is day 5 or 6. So like, and 24 hours a day, we're with each other. No one's leaving, no one's getting air, all that stuff. We're together. So part of like wanting to stay and be with your partner and grow with your partner was like half of it. And then also the other half was like, you don't want to leave your friends. So I felt for him when he said that, like, so when he was saying that, that's what he meant is like, you guys, like now I might have to go, like, and not only find love, but now I'm leaving like the experience of being with you guys, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've touched on in previous episodes, how we wish we got to see a little more about the kind of the friendships between everybody.
Yeah.
We need like the For the Love of Dilfs Untucked, you know.
I know. That's why I started the Daddy Chat on my YouTube channel, because I thought of that in the mansion because people were leaving so quick, and I was like, I was like booking people in the mansion. I was like, guys, like when we air, come on my channel. Like we'll talk about all this later because there was so much happening, you know, so much that doesn't get shown. So
yeah, because I feel like the friendships are such an important part, and you know, I would like to see, as much as I love seeing people build their connections with their, you know, relationships, I also really want to see people talk to the people that they're not romantically involved in and talk about not just their relationship, but talk about other things. You know, I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff that they can dig into there that we haven't really got the chance to see.
Yeah, that's why I love this scene, because this is basically that. And I don't know if you're familiar with that production term, on ice, But there was specifically like stuff would happen and they would wait for us to, run these scenes because
Yeah.
they already knew like we were naturally invested in each other. We were friends. And if you put us in the room and run the camera, like you're going to get it. And I love this scene because this is where we were at in our relationships. Like we were all that close where it was just like, we were calling crews in and we were like, stuff is happening. Like, just bring the cameras. Like so many times we were like, just bring them because we got to talk about this.
Yeah. For the girls that are unfamiliar, on ice is basically like, stop fucking talking till the cameras are on. We have to get this. This is good stuff,
Right. Like specifically after something juicy happens. So like right after elimination, like be on ice because we're going to have a scene about you guys kind of talking about it type thing. So it's like, it's real. A lot of people question like with the production part of it. It's really just like, just moving it to a certain time, but that action of us saying how we feel in the moment, it's all like real,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the beauty of reality TV. Even when they're like, we know you have feelings, but give us like 5 minutes. We gotta get some cameras in here. We gotta set up some mics. Give us a minute.
That was really hard for me to respect, by the way, because as you guys know, when I'm on. So there's a lot of things that they missed where it was just kind of like, because I was, there was no character. It was just 24/7 for me. Whether the cameras were on or not, my mind was going. So
yeah, there's feelings to be had.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have for this portion, is you say, I'm so secure in what I have. There's nothing that can get in the way of that. And I was like, I didn't catch it on my first watch, but on my second watch, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we love that confidence, don't we?
Yeah. Sometimes Apollo gives us the gift of prophecy when we don't even realize it,
Oh, yeah, that was hard for me to watch when I saw that. I was like, yeah, go you. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to these Daddy and Himbo entries.
We have Marcus coming in first, who says he's an actor, singer, dancer, and he's a musician. So I wrote quadruple threat. And he said his favorite thing is the titties, the chest. And then he did a little bounce, and production add some drums in there. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm into it. I feel it.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
He said he really likes a daddy who'd be like tall and thin or like a short, like beefy daddy. But then I was like, I wonder if he would have liked Luders if Luders was still in the house. Luders was very tall and thin, really handsome. So like, I'm curious.
True.
All stars.
And Luders was Haitian, so he's also kind of Caribbean too. So they've both been able to bond over that. I wrote here, I love the kind of bandana on bandana combo that Marcus is wearing. Very cute. Looks gorgeous on him. And he wants someone to take control, but also understand him, but also let him be free. It's just very vague.
All the things.
Yeah, he's every woman, you want all that. And I understand that.
And then after Marcus, we get Barry, Barry comes in saying, I'm one of one. I'm the only one. And I was like, bitch, Beyonce, the mic is on. On my second watch, I wrote here, I'm trying to back my 16 carriages up on him. And then I put oink.
You're so foul. You're sick. The first time we watched it, when I'm sitting on Mario's couch right behind you, and he starts saying that, and I go, oh, that's a sister. It's like, that's a queen right there. That's a sister.
Love Barry. So both of them came in with such great, different energy, but great energy for sure.
That's the thing that I appreciate about both of them is like I think they both knew that they were kind of entering the house a little late, and so I like that they came in pretty high energy. Like,
yeah,
anytime they're on camera, they're giving us something, which I appreciate.
Yeah, there was a moment, like little like behind the scenes tea here, where like Barry got there, and when we got like up to the daddy room after the scene, it was really hard for us to like bring Barry in immediately because that was, mind you, right when Sal left back on that episode, when they first appeared in at the end of that. So we were all very like on edge and just not feeling it. But Barry's energy was so like bright that I think I was like the first one to be like, girl, just come here. Like we immediately just started cutting up. And I told him that. I was like, obviously that was hard because, we got close as like that OG cast. So when Sal left, we were all kind of like pouting our lips a bit. But then Barry was just too much fun to not get to know. So I love him.
Definitely. I have written here, I was like, Barry has very intense eyes. Super intense eyes. Like everything he says, It's either he's undressing you with them, he's staring you down with his eyes, whatever they're doing, they're very intense.
Yeah.
And he's immediately feeling Marcus as he enters the house, which is fun.
Immediately, because he loved his chocolate, as he said. And then Stormy says, wait, we have another surprise for you. A bonus daddy.
The anti-chocolate.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay, you kind of got me with that one. Hold on, let me regroup. The anti-chocolate. During Black History Month, how dare you?
Matthew is just like the whitest man I've ever seen, though, aside from Jimmy.
He's the whitest lawyer and comedian I have ever seen. I put Fort Lauderdale's own Phaedra Parks in my notes.
Lawyer by day, stand-up comedian by night is a dangerous combo for what might be the most annoying person ever. And I'm not saying Matthew's the most annoying person ever. I'm just saying comedians are very annoying and lawyers are very annoying. So to have both of them in one human is dangerous. Very dangerous. I have written here that also he reminds me of my childhood pediatrician.
You did say that on the couch, and I was just like, wait, what?
Listen, I really don't know how to explain it, but I had a pediatrician with the same salt and pepper hair who talked with that same very like S-heavy, almost like a lisp a little bit. Matthew seems very tri-state area to me, you know, like he is New Jersey, he is New York, he could be Connecticut, like he is that.
I wonder where he's from. I'm not sure. I never caught it.
I don't think he said where he was from.
I just assumed New York. He just gives that vibe.
Yeah, I could see New York.
Yeah, he just feels very tri-state. The one note I have here, he says he can overlook a good body if they've got a good personality, which I think the wording on that is really weird because it just makes it seem like if you don't have a good body, you're like basically worthless to him unless you have a good personality. But
He's like, you gotta have one of the two. You gotta have one of the two.
Stormy brings in all the new daddies and the new himbo, and then they meet all the other himbos, and Rico is just immediately like, ooh, there's another bear in the house. Like, you know, ooh, also. And then I wrote here, I was like, is he a bear if he has like 36 chest hairs? I didn't get bear from him. I got like beefy man.
He don't even self-identify as a bear though. At least from what he was giving us in there.
He did once he found out that Rico was into it, right?
He was like, if that's what you think I am, sure, I'll be that. Sure, break out the bear claw shorts, you know?
Yes. She came with her game plan. I'll give it to her for that.
Yeah, I'll give her that one. Yep. They also kind of zip through some other dates. We get some bit from Marcus and Barry. They're feeling each other quite literally. Barry's like, you're making my dick hard. And once again, those intense ass eyes.
He did after he touched my chest, I told him, you making my dick hard.
Like,
there was like a pause, silence, and I was like, oh my God.
It just caught me off guard. Barry, he's a bit of a cornball. You know, he kind of gives me he's like Jason Derulo energy where he's like really fine, but he's like kind of corny where you're like, girl, you're too fine to be doing all this.
Oh my gosh. That's my favorite part about him though. Like, he's so much fun.
Oh, it comes off very endearing, but I'm also like, this boy is corny. And speaking of corny, well, wait, actually, before we do that, I did want to say this. So Barry asked Marcus about the love languages, which got me thinking. And then I was like, well, Nigel, what are your love languages? Because I did have that in my notes to ask you that.
Oh my gosh. You know what the problem with this question is? I can't ever remember what they all are.
Words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, gift giving, acts of service.
You have to pick one?
I think you pick one as your main, and then the rest, like you're allowed. Of course, everyone has a multiple degrees.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But there's definitely one that stands out.
Probably like touch and quality time, like the physical connection, but also like the quality time could just be like laying there. It's like just being together is the point. So I'll go with that.
Good. But speaking of corny, as I said, we get some stuff from Matthew and Rico, and Rico off the bat is like, he's not funny, he's corny, but I like corny, which is kind of odd. He says he likes bears. Matthew's like, am I a bear? The second Rico's like, yeah, you're a bear. And then he's like, all right, that's what I am. I'll take it up and run with it. Boom.
Right.
Yeah, Rico's like, well, do you like me? I'm a thicker guy. Not everyone's into that. And Matthew's like, I like your smile and personality. Which, once again, the wording is
That link
odd.
back to the body
Yeah.
comment. And I was like,
Exactly. Because Rico got body. You know,
body.
that boy is built. The ass is there. The body's there. So
Mhm.
I'm like, Matthew, come on. You could have said more than his personality. That man is gorgeous.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we see Nigel looking through the
Oh.
window.
At the
I wrote
window.
foaming at the mouth looking through the window.
Uh,
With your little tongue out. It was like,
Yeah.
what was going on in your head at this moment?
So that window was the kitchen, and I was always getting me a little snack in between scenes. And I
Mhm.
saw what I saw, and because sometimes when things like that happen, we'll be like taken away so that like the scene can happen. But
Yeah.
I guess it was like it was almost like a show in there because I was at the window for a while. I was watching all the dates, and I remember at one point like you can't hear anything. So I just saw like Rico laughing and I was just like, please let me go out there. Like, what are you laughing about? Like, I want to see, like, what's so
up,
funny?
fucking
Like,
funny?
yeah. And then I was like the first one to do that. But then Anthony actually did it too. And it's funny. There's like a behind the scenes picture on Sapphire, one of my producers' Instagram today of Anthony doing it too. And I'm like, I'm so glad she showed that because I was not the only one. We were all, again, like, we're halfway into this now. Like, what you mean? Somebody is here talking to him? Like, no, like he gotta go. Like,
Which I'm sure Anthony. I'm sure Anthony was. Wait, was it Daniel or Derek who said they're not opening their kunsa on the first date because that was so funny.
Probably Derek because if Anthony was at the window, yeah.
Yeah, because that line had me cackling. Also, Barry with the invasive ass questioning. He said, "Oh, you're giving bottom vibes."
And Keith was like, "I'm getting verse vibes. How dare you?"
Even Hazel was like, "Well, I like bottoming, but I like topic." And so Barry's like, "Bottom." That man is hilarious.
I know.
So the gift wrapping challenge. I can already say if I was on the Himbo team, I would have failed. I'm so bad at wrapping gifts. I am definitely more of the like Hazel said, just give cash, give a gift card, put it in the bag, and then put some stuff in the bag. That's definitely me.
Yeah.
I cannot wrap a box to save my life. It's just my hands don't do that. The booty do. The hands don't.
Listen, I can wrap a gift, but I can listen. I prefer a bag. Just like the twin said, put a little plush in the bag and call it a day. But I can wrap if I need to.
Oh my gosh.
So the gift wrapping, Jake and I loved the Stormy gift wrapping paper. We want like 3 rolls because I honestly want to try to wrap everything in that paper.
I will say this.
Iconic.
Daddy TV, if you're listening, we are open to having a PR package sent to us. We're just putting it out there. I would love a Daddy TV hat. Give us some Stormy wrapping paper. I'm just floating the idea. Okay, we are open and willing to receive. Okay?
So in this challenge, the daddies they wrap everything. Matthew gets the bike and puts like a ribbon on the bike. And he's like, I thought that was a really smart idea. And I could see where he was going with it. But then when the camera showed it, it was just like the little like ribbon on, not even on the seat. It was like on the bar. And I was like, oh, okay. I see the vision.
Yeah, it's like, you win a new car, you get a little ribbon on it.
Yeah.
You wrap it without wrapping it.
And then, exactly. And Jimmy was saying it's never been more clear on who won a challenge because if you look at us and look at them, we clearly won, and it was a landslide victory by the daddies.
Landslide victory.
Y'all wrapped the hell out them presents.
Yeah, we killed
How
it.
long did y'all have to even wrap the presents?
I think it was 2 minutes. Yeah, it was.
Wait,
short.
What?
Yeah,
Holy
it was.
shit! I'm thinking y'all got like a drag race mini challenge, 30 minutes to get a quick drag.
Maybe, I would say like 5 max, but I remember it being fast. Like that's part of the challenge. Like you had to learn to work together, figure out who was going to do what within seconds. So it was like, yeah.
What was your role?
I was gonna say I put myself on like detail duty, so I actually was cutting out like little Stormies and I was pasting them and trying to just give it like a creative approach, like just in case the Himbo is wrapped really, really well. at least ours would have like a creative touch to it that wasn't, that they didn't have, is what I was thinking.
Nice.
I went into those mini challenges like strategy always, because I was so scared about what was going to happen. So
Listen,
I was always
that's
like
a
trying
game
to play
there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I did notice because the thing is, I noticed that the daddies had like better wrapped gifts, but they used a lot more of kind of the regular brown wrapping paper. And then I did see kind of like the little Stormies kind of embellished on there. So I did appreciate that. That was cute.
Yeah, thank you.
So the daddies win, choose some dates. Everyone votes as expected. Kane ends up going for Hazel, and then Matt chooses Rico.
I get my shit rocked.
Yeah. From what we saw, somehow, some way, the universe came and fucked up something I had. I was like, oh, you are heated.
Because mind you, this is now the second time I'm going through this. So it's not, I'm like, when is this over? Like, when can I just be with him? Because this is not fun anymore.
Yeah, and then you get a signed dealer for casino night, so they give you like a consolation prize.
Yeah, and we did what we could up there, but obviously I would have rather been throwing blackjack or whatever with Rico.
Of course, of course.
I don't blame you.
I love your confessionals. You look so heated, but also you're pissed, but you have such a kind face that like even when you're mad, I'm like, oh, look at him. He's so sweet. You're like, I could not take it, but you're like smiling kind of.
Right, I know.
That's adorable. And then,
it's almost impossible to really hate anyone for what happens, because we're all there for this same reason. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like it's not all. It's definitely not personal.
Right.
Yeah, like you got to make a decision. You got to choose someone, right? Speaking of choosing people, the Himbos are talking the elimination. Derek's feeling like he's a threat, and is trying to understand why. And I feel like it's pretty obvious why the twins are a threat. That's 4 votes between the two of them. Sal talked about this last episode, which from a reality TV standpoint, I think it's genius, of course, to try to break up both the twins as a couple.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I just love the twins so much. I don't think I could ever vote for them.
I know, I do too.
No, I couldn't.
Those are my babies.
Yeah, they're so sweet. Hazel is like, well, listen, I was only presented with one option. I voted for whoever, but it's like Nick definitely was like, all right, here, girl, vote this. And then the Himbos are grinding back against him for his decision. I can see both sides of it.
Yeah.
Because Hazel's the newest one in the house, so he doesn't have the frame of reference like everyone else does. So for them to like really be going in that hard on him, I'm kind of like, all right, give him a little break.
I know. That was our little Bambi of the season. Like I love her so much. Like probably one of like the golden retriever of season 2. Like period. Just always happy, always beautiful. I love her so much.
Yeah,
but
that's the energy.
She did need a little bit of that direction though. And it's interesting because I didn't know that scene happened, and watching it, there was a change between her first entrance and the next time I saw her. Like, and now I'm watching the show and I'm like, okay, they got her together. That's what happened. Like,
that's what. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, which makes sense because we were close. So it when things happened, we talked about it and we went in on it and we analyzed it together on and off camera. So I'm glad that moment was captured, because that I could see her like changing in it. So I love that.
Nice. Yeah, you can definitely tell. By the end, like they're definitely grinding against Hazel for it. But by the end, they're all hugging. So it's definitely like done with love. They're like, listen, girl, you just need to have a voice. Like, have a voice, girl. Not just for yourself, but also like in reality TV, you have to have a voice. You need to be able to speak up on things.
Yes.
And I love Daniel being like, the long is annoying. You're cute. You're a little annoying, but we love you for that. But you got to start talking. Not one of the triplets, but she's one of the girls. And Aaron said on the episode he was like, they called Aaron the triplet. So Aaron's a triplet, Hazel's a girl. And then the conversation that they have with Marcus later, I think Marcus is working his way up to triplet,
Yes, no, and that is an honorary place to be. When I run with the twins, I also am a triplet. And it is they don't take it lightly at all. So it's an honor to be such.
To join them for that. So we cut over to the daddy's room. Nigel, lead us through here because this is a very emotion heavy segment. So what was like? We get it is it's a pressure cooker.
Yeah,
emotions are high. It's cool.
Yeah.
What was happening here?
So this is kind of like my little powwow to myself before the battle type thing. I came so far. I'm so emotionally invested in this process, and I think in that moment, I'm realizing like, okay, like I'm falling for someone within a game, on a show, in front of camera. Like it's that moment of like everything connecting and just like, we got to do this. Like you didn't come this far to come this far type thing. And that's what I love that scene because that's what I was feeling. And I wanted a moment to kind of voice how I was feeling. And I think it came out good. She was like a battle star warrior princess getting her shit together for the war, for the battle, I love that scene.
Yeah. And I know like some people could be like, well, like what are you fighting for? Because it's like Himbo's choice, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so like they're choosing you. But I'm like, this is your fighting back because on reality TV, any chance that you have where the camera's in front of you, like that is your chance to rally for yourself, for your storyline, and for your relationship. So for me, this is how it read. It was like exactly like that. This is you psyching yourself up to let not just everyone in the room know, let the audiences know that you're not done. You're not like accepting that this is how it's going to go. To me, that's how it read. I was like, this is a good scene. I like this.
Yeah.
And then Anthony says he's ready to gamble on Derek. To which Barry's like, is that the right one? And I had to double check. I was like, it's the right one.
Yeah, I repeated that right after him. I was like, is that the right one? Like, because that would always happen. Like, we just, you've been there for such a short time, but also it feels like such a long time type thing. So
it doesn't help that their names will start with D.
Slip ups will happen for sure.
So we get a little Daniel Marcus catch up. Marcus goes, which one's Hazel? And Daniel goes, the way he wanted. I was hoping for this entire segment for us to get another "you like him, don't you?" Because that's my favorite thing. For anytime Daniel says "you like him, don't you," I scream. It's my favorite thing. And we did not get that, but
Daniel's always gonna get tea though.
Exactly. Always. And I can appreciate him. I'm sure the producers did not have to do a lot of work to be like, Daniel, go ask him about this. Daniel's like, all right. Give me this skinny. What's up? It's very nice. But something here that stood out to me. Daniel's like, Marcus, why are you in the house? What made you come here? And Marcus said, my last relationship was down to 2 kisses a day and sex twice a week. How often does this man want it?
Listen, he was a firecracker. When I saw that scene, I was like, this pans out. Like this makes sense. Like he was extra in every sense, and so this is just who he is. I was not even surprised by that statement.
Yeah, because I'm like, listen, I'm a busy man. Twice a week sometimes is all we could do. I got there's shit to do. There's bills to pay. People to see. That's a lot, but I can understand it for someone who's he said he jerks out 4 times a day. Yeah,
feisty.
4 times.
Where do you find the time, girl? Where do you find the time?
Crazy.
You make the time, like when Jimmy and Keith was in the elevator, episode 1.
I guess make the time. Multitask. I'm multitasking right now. You can't see under the desk.
Listen.
Now we move on to Vegas night. Vegas night. And we have to start off with Stormy's dress. She's in a gorgeous dark blue number.
Yeah, the fashion this season. I felt proud to be a part of the season when I saw what she was coming down the stairs with.
She looked great. Mm-hmm. She brings you over. You're in a nice, very suave black shirt. I love the necklace that you have on. It was very pretty. Like kind of that, like it's like a black.
So T, that is the mic.
That's the mic?
Yes, that's the mic. They're necklace mics, but I would coordinate with them, and I did choose that one specifically for my outfits. So,
I was like, that's a cute ass necklace. I was like, because I noticed that Rico had on a necklace similar, and then Matthew had on a necklace similar. Yes. So I started to put things together, but I was like, maybe they're just having everyone with these necklaces. I don't know.
No, they're all mics, and I remember watching season 1 and being like, oh, maybe like they all went on like a field trip together and bought these necklaces somewhere. That's what I thought. And then when I got on the show, I was like, when I came in like for my first day for a scene, they had all the necklaces lined up, and I was like, oh, like it was all the same ones from season 1 too. So you could see. And then when I rewatched season 1, I was seeing like I had a turtle necklace, and I saw like one of the castmates have it on season 1. Yeah.
Okay, see, because tell me why I was like, this is probably just part of some accessories table they got or by craft services. It's like, girl, pick a mic, pick a necklace for the day.
No, I stuck with that one. That was my favorite one because it went with a lot of my looks. So
nice. It was very cute. All right, let's work through some of these dates. Oof. Oh wait, before we do that, Matthew makes a good point here. He's like, Rico has to decide whether or not he wants to marry him in an hour, otherwise he's going home, which just like kind of highlights how silly some of the points of the show can be, which I enjoy. I think it's like, it's reality TV, it's fun. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it is like, you have to choose this person in 1 hour. If that's the person you want, you have to be with it. If not, fuck them, they're going home. So that's just something silly.
Yeah, that added to my frustration because he came in and to him this was really more of a game. Like like how much of a connection because you really have chosen with him in the past 12 hours type thing.
Exactly.
So that bothered me so much. I was like, he is just gonna say and do anything, and I did not know what Rico was gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Do you think if he had joined the house earlier, maybe his way of thinking would have been different, or you think he still would have been like, it's just like we're just gonna have fun with it, like a comedian would?
I saw a comment like that earlier. Someone who was not team Nigel and Rico was like, "Oh, Matt would be here if he was there on the first episode." And I was like, I want to see. I want to fucking see. Like,
I'm curious.
Let's refilm it.
I would have been never a different person. I'm always who I am, but you would have gotten a different side of me because that whole first episode and all that happening, I have to keep explaining to people that that's not my everyday life. That was very like out of the box, shocking. Like that was crazy to go through. I'm used to having it there'd be a bunch, just like the real world. There's a bunch of other bears around me and I don't always get picked. If Matt was there in the beginning, I would have been a different level of stress. It would not have been cute fairy tale first couple of episodes. It would have been a whole different show for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You think you would have been like a little more maybe forward? Because that first episode, it's the what is that little thumbs up by you, Mario?
What, did it bring a thumbs up? What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this for the girls watching on Spotify. They'll see it.
It looked like you pressed the button and then the thumbs up came.
A little thumbs up popped right by your head.
Maybe thought I was making a thumbs up and to do it. I'm trying to make it do it again. Anyways,
watch the episode back. You'll see it. But my thing is, do you think it would have been a little more forward because the Himbos were choosing the daddies that first episode? Do you think you would have put it like if Matthew was there? Would you have been like, no, fuck him, you come with me?
Yeah. Like I would have been the same way I was episode 5. Mm-hmm. I probably would have been on 1 and people would have think I was even crazier because they would have been like, you just met him. Why are you pulling him to you? But I guess I'll be explaining this the rest of my life. But the way I felt about Rico is that was the way I felt. Like I can't help that's what happened to me. Is so many people were like, oh, I would have not done this. I would have not have said that. I not would have gone in so fast. Do you know how much I wish I could have just came in and I had control over my heart and the things I said and the things I did? I had zero control. I was just going. What came out, and it was hard. Like,
and I think a lot of people don't understand that reality TV, like we keep saying this, it's a pressure cooker. And I feel like people don't understand that like emotions are running high, the time constraints are there. Like you're meeting these people, but you don't have all the time in the world to kind of like build that connection with them. So everything does seem way more intense.
Very heightened.
Yeah. So first date, Kane and Hazel, probably not as pressure cookery and heightened as
the rest of the episode.
They just have like the most chill conversation, but they're also talking about how they both been kind of struggling. And to me, they both come off as very submissive. But they seem like they get along, it's kind of not a meh date, but for all intents and purposes, it's kind of a meh date.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to see because it's almost like a race in a way in the competition, and so many of the other castmates are further ahead in their journey, so they had to kind of take that step back. And it doesn't make it any less interesting. It's just like the grounds that they cover, we all covered on episodes 1 and 2 with our people type
exactly
thing, so.
Like you can't start on this first date and be like, so what happens, where are we gonna live, what if we're broke?
Like the audience wants more at this point.
I'm like, give us trauma. Release the trauma. What did you think of Keith and Jimmy's date, Mario?
I thought it was real cute. Dr. Dilf did bring up Jimmy's shirt, and I thought it was a very nice, like blue monarch shirt. It was gorgeous, especially
But
that
here's the
color on
thing.
him. Looked
Not
good.
Jimmy has worn color before in other episodes. I think Jimmy has had some cute little Hawaiian shirts on this season.
He has. There was something about the blue. It was different. Dr. Dilf had to write about it. That's how good it
Well,
was.
I'm sure it matched his eyes.
Dr. Dilf is.
The ones that, hey, what did he say? They were blue, green, hazel? What color did he say? Bluish greenish.
With your bluish, greenish, brownish eyes. Jimmy spins the roulette and it looks real smooth, real suave. And then the ball falls out. But the thing is, he sold it. To me, he sold it. Even if the ball falls out, I'm like, he did that. He sold the part. And that's pretty much all we get for their date. They're like, all right.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a solid bet. And then we move
Which
ahead.
was really cute.
Which is, I just want more storyline from that, Give us more trauma. Release more. Either that or start talking more about Kinks. The viewers know by this point. I either want you to talk about trauma or Kinks. Those are the two things I need for good TV.
You would have loved the daddy room after hours because we were airing it out. That was my favorite thing to do. And I'm pretty sure I opened up that conversation on night one. I was like, I want to know what everyone does and when they do it and where they do it and how. Now. I was very much interested in that. Yeah. Because that was the life I was living before coming on the show and meeting Rico. I was very proud to be in a firm spot in my slut era. So when I came in there, I was all about that. But then, what happens. But I was interested in that when I first got in there. We talked a lot about it.
Yep. I know you messaged us last week about them cutting your kinks down. Would you like to share with the world some kinks?
Tell us the kinks. We want to know.
No pressure.
No, it's just so crazy
because
I thought that scene was going to be so much longer. And I was so nervous all these months thinking everything's going to come out on camera because basically he says what are you into? And I'm groups, dark rooms, sessions, bathhouses, really anonymous. I'm listing everything. And I add pup play in there. And then the edit goes, I'm into pup play. I was like, nah, I listed 17 different things. That's why I messaged you and I was like, I have to clear this up on the air somewhere because that was an interesting conversation for us because I was proud of that. And that wasn't something I've always done. Coming into being confident and loving my bare body, was all in the past 3 or 4 years. And with that came that sexual exploration. So it's more than just I'm in my slut era. It's no, I learned to love my body. I learned to love who I was. And because of that, I'm having these great experiences. And when the question came for a kink date on a kink episode, I was like, this is my moment. I get to tell the world everything I've been doing. And then they were like, oh, pup play. I was like, oh, so yeah, I love it all. So
see, because I said it last episode, I'm like, I would have loved more extended conversations for all this. Because like you said, that's not just your slut era. That's you reclaiming your spirit, reclaiming your body, reclaiming your sexuality, reclaiming your time,
Yeah.
I wanted to hear all of that, but
yes.
the world wasn't ready.
No.
I know.
Give us the uncut kink dates. I will stand on this. Give us the uncut version. Uncut, unedited. Next, we have Marcus and Barry's date. They talk about the Stormy money, which also, if y'all want to send us some Stormy money, we'll take a Stormy bag. I'll frame it.
Oh my gosh. I have one. I grabbed, I think I don't know, I think it's on the floor over there somewhere. Because it fell off my mirror earlier. I didn't grab it yet. I had it on my mirror in the corner and I love it. I was like, I have to. There were so many laying around and I was crazy about those mementos. I kept the glasses from the spelling bee. And I'm pretty sure I have it.
Do you have your little sign that you made?
Look, she's been through a lot because I did a photo shoot with her. And I have the
yes.
I was just grabbing shit from the set. I was like, this is the greatest experience of my life. I'm taking everything I can.
I'm taking a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I was not playing.
Yeah, it's the girls on Drag Race stealing the RuPaul shoes, stealing the RuPaul books, the chocolate bars, take everything.
Everything matters.
Mm-hmm. Marcus and Barry are all over each other. They're cute together.
They are.
When they kiss, I'm like, I want to see it. Thank you. Yeah. I'll take that. Barry goes, my heart is fragile. cornball behavior, but it is endearing. You know, it's very cute.
It's so cute, and I love like, you know, you know, do you know the movie Bring It On?
Yes.
Yes.
So you know how like when they're like, oh, like my version of like being the best, like competing against the best. That's how I feel about like Marcus and Barry. Like I'm glad they came in so strong and so connective. Because if two people came in and they were like faking it and competing against me, like I would feel a different type of way. But they were real from the jump, and I love that date. And they're so sexual, and I love that about them.
Yeah, like you could tell there's electricity there. It's fun. It's cute.
I wrote here, can we see them do the bondage thing? Can they like get a little rope and do something?
Run it back, run it back.
I want to know about the poom poom. I want to know what the poom poom do.
And the fashion for that episode for them probably would have been fine because those are both fashion girlies, so they would probably the cake looks.
See the fits, see it, yeah. You know, I need the girls to start doing doing photo shoots like for every episode. Here's what I wore, boom, boom, boom.
I've been trying to post like because I was in a mirror, daddy mirror, every day taking pictures of my looks, and I've been trying to post like all the behind the scenes of my looks. Like, they're all super simple though. I was going for comfort on the show because I knew I would be stressed. But it's funny because for the kink episode, I have like a leather bodysuit that I wear to when I go to like Mal and like the leather conventions and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, but then I was like, no, like I have to go comfort because I don't know what's gonna happen in the scene. Like if they say like this is a competition, you have to pin the other. I'm like, okay, I'm not dressed for that now. Like now you fuck me up. Like you know what I mean? So again, like I was always about strategy. I was like, I have to go into these little dates and challenges like comfort because I don't know when we're adding points, when we're deciding. I don't know what we're doing ever. So
not to mention hot Florida heat.
Oh yeah.
One of the days we were there, I think it was either the put your butt in the hole challenge or it was the next episode. One of those 2 days, it was the hottest day on record on Earth, like ever.
Oh my God.
I think it was like 102 or something. It was so bad. Like we were rushed out towels. We were rushed out water in between scenes because people were just like dripping sweat. It was so hot. Like I can't even stress that enough.
I hope it wasn't the episode where Rico had on the GIMP mask.
Isn't that the one where Sal said it was like super hot the day?
Yeah,
the butt in the hole with Rico in the mask?
It was the butt in the whole day, yeah. Because if you actually look at those scenes, we are dripping. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was so hot.
Oof. Next day, we have Ed and Daniel. The reason why there's probably so many Stormy books all over.
Yeah,
it was making it rain.
The reason I ended up being able to snatch one.
Gamble before. That I love that. That is so fun. They talk a little bit about distance. Daniel's afraid of flying, but says he could take a little melatonin. Daniel, if you're listening, here's what I do. Fuck the melatonin. You got to go to the dispensary, get you some 2.5 milligram edibles. They sell them, and I know it don't sound like a lot. It's a tiny amount. 2.5. It's just enough to make your day seem a little brighter. Take that right before the flight. When you hit that seat, you will be out like a light, baby. Those hours will fly by. You'll get up and you'll be smiling because you didn't even realize the flight happened.
You do be swearing by them edibles. The 2.5. You swear by them.
I am telling you, the 2.5 edibles get me where I gotta go every time.
Listen, side story. I gave I don't know if they had it before. They either hadn't had it before or they hadn't had it in years. But we met up at Anthony's in New York for the premiere party, and I had all my goodies on me. You know, edibles, roll-ups, everything was ready to go because the evening was about to commence, and I had to be ready. So I had everything ready, and I was like, "Oh, do you want one?" And I don't know why. I guess I should have gave them a serving size. But Daniel pops one, Derek takes 2, and they're like 10. They're 10 milligrams. So homegirl's now on 20, and then the premiere was in this was at 2:00, and the premiere was at 7. So I was like, we did a reaction video to the episode, and in the video, she's so it's hitting her, and she's cracking up. It's so funny. And then she was like, what should I do? The premiere's in a couple hours. I was like, go home, sleep for 30 minutes, take a hot shower, you'll be fine. And she was good by the premiere, but they are so funny because I was like, oh yeah, you guys can have some. And I put the package down, I turn around and I was like, oh, how many did you take? She was like, oh, 2, right? I was like, no, who told you 2?
Girl, this is not an Advil. Take one.
I I was like, good luck. Like, you about to feel it, girl. Like,
see, a 10 is like, a 10 will have me on my ass for days. Like, that's why the little
Yeah.
2.5 is just enough
Yeah.
to color my day a little bit, make me smile.
Oh my gosh.
That is too funny. The twins talk about not being together and what that would look like if they were
So
to move
funny.
away. They're like, but you better not forget about me because I know how you get when you get a man. You act like you don't know nobody. Are either of you one of those kinds of people? Which is no shade, because I know tons of people who forget who everyone else is when they get a man.
Oh. No, I mean, as you can see, I get in trouble for keeping my friends close to me. So.
Yes, yeah.
I don't do that. So no.
Yeah, me either.
You know, especially
I am not. No.
Especially if you have
No,
close
because
friends.
I'll be texting because my man be gone. He be gone at Queen at all kinds of events, and I'm sitting here like, Jake, you want to come over and play Baldur's Gate? Like, you want to?
It's so funny.
You want to do something?
The two of us just love to play video games, and both of our boyfriends are like the type that are just like, you know, on the street, callejeros. They're out in these streets, running around, going to parties and whatnot, and we're like, girl, let's play some games.
I'm like, I'm such a mix of the two. That's so funny. I love my gamer nights, but I definitely have to hit the streets for sure. Like,
nice. I mean, I could be out, listen, but also it's like when you're a bartender, it's like, just don't want to be out.
I'm sure.
Oh, and before we move on, I just want to say, if anyone tries to get any of us in trouble, weed is legal everywhere that we live. It's legal in New Jersey. It is legal in Illinois.
Period.
Let's just make sure we just
give that disclaimer.
Put that little disclaimer out there. Now we move on to Anthony and Derek. They talk a little bit about the kink date, which I like to hear them talk about, you know, swapping up submissive roles. And really at the heart of it, it's about Anthony appreciating that Derek allows him to be, you know, be who he is, be comfortable. You don't have to be, just because you're a daddy don't mean you got to be a daddy, you know? And I think this is also some of the stuff that we also saw in previous episodes with you and Rico as well. It's like, just because you're the daddy doesn't mean you always have to be the one in control. You can be vulnerable, you can cry, you can be held. And I like when they show us things like that.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes because Anthony's probably the daddy I connected closest with in the house. And we would have these conversations like off camera and all things like this. So for this to make it in this episode meant a lot to me because I was showing that I was doing like all the physicalities of what he was talking about, but I never sat down in confessional and said that. And he kind of like said it for me. So, and also like for his own relationship. So I love that scene. I like texted him as soon as I saw it. I was like, I love this scene. I was like, I'm posting it on my story. Yeah,
that was a really good. And that's what I have written here. I was like, this is not just it's not just like, it is a conversation for the two of them, but it's also kind of for the whole house. And like, it just shows, and not just for the house, but for the audiences as well. Just because you're in like a whatever role you are in a relationship doesn't mean you have to be in that role. And especially as queer people, I think that's something that a lot of us need to learn. Break out of gender roles, break out of top and bottom, break out of submissive and dom roles. You know, you could be it all at different points in time. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm big on that as well. I love to talk about that.
Yeah, hold each other. You know, not one person always got to be the little spoon. So in this, were you able to like, because you were dealing the cards and whatever, so were you able to hear everyone's conversations, or were you like, as the dealer, what really was your role during casino night?
To listen as well. Because Rico and Matt, well, we didn't get to their date yet, but the groups are rotating around the room. So even before they get up to the front to film their date, they're on their date. They're talking to each other. They're getting to know each other as they're circling the room, because as the dates come to the front to film, the other one goes to a slot machine and then the table and then the other slot machine. Like, it was like a merry-go-round type thing. That was one of the hardest parts for me because they like started to get to know each other right in front of me at the blackjack table, and then moved to the slot machine to the left. Continued to get like literally like, where are you from and what kind of animals do you like, was like to my left. So all the questions that we hit on camera, that was only what you got when they went up to the front at the blackjack table for the date. But the date actually, like, Matt did his thing, you know what I mean? Like, I would have done the same thing. Like, why wait to the front and have your 16-second date when you could just whisper? You're supposed to be mouthing in those scenes for the sake of the scene, but a lot of us would never listen. And if you whisper low enough, you were good to go. You just can't be like obviously like projecting into the scene. And that tore me up. That is part of how I escalate to such a high level of intensity. Because I had to listen to not just the front date, but the whole real date, everything. So
wow, that's why I brought it up. Because the next date is Matthew and Rico, so I think it was a very natural. Because I'm like wondering, are they just whispering in front of you, like right at your table when they're at your station, or
yeah. And I loved Enrico's confessional, hearing that was hurting him a little bit because you wouldn't have known during the group, they're just doing their thing, having their date. And I didn't know that he would even consider like how I was feeling back there. But I like seeing the confessionals, he was. But in that time, in that moment, we weren't locking eyes. He was with Matt and they were having their time. Like I wasn't gonna interject and ruin that. Like I'm like ballsy and forward, but I'm not gonna like, the kids had like 5 seconds to do his thing here. So I'm gonna let him continue.
let him have his day.
Yeah, let him have his
moment
yeah.
in the sun. So speaking of Matthew and Rico's date, Rico's feeling both ways. Like you kind of talked. He's to me, I'm like, this is a salt and pepper man. For a couple hours. You're like, which we see later on. He's like, I'm not gonna risk it for someone who's down for me 100%.
Right.
He's mentioning. This is the one thing I wrote. He keeps mentioning he wants to peel back the layers on Matthew. What layers are we peeling back? What was he trying to get to the heart of? Is my big question.
Yeah, probably just something past what he was being given. Coming from 5 days with me, he was thirsting for something a little bit more real and with substance, I feel like, because that's what I was giving him while we were together. Like we weren't just in a room asking each other what our favorite color was. Like I was asking him, what does he feel? What does he want to grow up? What does he want to do with his life? How does he want to be known for a legacy? Like I was asking deep questions on and off camera. And I think when that changed that day, when he had Matt, that was the one thing that he was missing. Like, oh, like I just want to peel back a little bit more layers. Because with me, we were just doing nothing but peeling,
Yeah, like where's the real conversation? Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up because I put a little onion emoji and I put like, why is he trying to Shrekify this man? But I'm glad you brought the peeling and all that.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because to me, that's part of the reason why I'm like a comedian. Oh God, because comedians, I feel like they are always have that wall up. If you're trying to get a real thing out of them, they're just gonna deflect, which it kind of seems like Matthew is doing a little bit.
Yeah, like who are you really?
Like what are you past the jokes? You know what I mean? And jokes, if we can call them that. No shade, but
no, never that.
No shade, but when he said, "I like your jokes; they're pretty funny." That is him saying your jokes are not funny, girl. corny.
I thought the fisherman one was cute. Give him that point.
I'm not going to give that point. maybe this is me in my tough love era, but I don't know. The jokes were not joking for me. I have right here. I don't like how Rico's calling Matthew Poppy and Pa. I don't know. When you call a white man Pa, it just don't feel right to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, this is Bob. Who are you calling Pa? The producer. I'm sorry. They gonna get me in trouble for that one. The producer asked Rico why he's not spending time with Nigel, and this is where we get the frame of reference, the lore of it all.
Yeah.
What did you know that was why, or was this like, do you have like a feeling or an inkling about it?
So this day was so hard for me. After that casino date, I stormed off to my room as they showed, which I was so glad that they went through and showed this process, because this again like all leads up to why I was so very emotional at the end. I went to my room. That was dinner time. So in between the fucking casino scene and the elimination was about like 2 or 3 hours, or amount of time. Enough time to have like dinner and get ready for the elimination. I did not talk to Rico from when I left the casino date, because here's what happened. When I was back there listening and drinking the wine and rolling my eyes, I had turned, and when they finished their date, and there's like I don't know if there was like a kiss on the cheek or something. I don't know if they show it.
I don't know. I could.
I don't think
remember they like hugged or anything. I don't feel like I remember a kiss. I feel like I definitely would have written that if I remembered it. But
I wonder if they took it out. I don't know because I've only watched it once. I can't be like watching this episode over and over again. So
Yeah,
I don't know if it's in there.
listen, fair.
But I
Yeah.
remember hearing a kiss, right? So I wasn't looking and I was like, oh, like the date went good, like they've sealed, like this is happening. So I went off to my room, sat on my bed, like super upset, did not want to have dinner, like that whole thing. And oh, it was just so like I felt so gross because like with Matt being who he was as being like a comedian, being like the funny, smiley one, and me like falling into my feelings like that, it's like it made us exact polar opposites. And of course, it's like I was like, oh, he's going to pick Matt because it's like, look, he's happy, he's fun, I'm laughing. Like Nigel is doing way too much, and it was like I was doing way too much, and then I was upset because I was doing way too much. And it was just like a vicious cycle. And
Yeah.
this is why like the friendships and me being close to people meant a lot to me because that night I went down there and I started to eat by myself. They were over on one table and I started to eat by myself at another table. The twins and Anthony and Ed called me over to their table. Yeah. And I had dinner with them that night and I was barely even able to eat, having no appetite, just super nervous. I was almost positive I was going to be out of there. I had not talked to him since earlier that morning, literally. It was even more of a stretch and lore than it was even in that edit because it was just a whole day of not being together after having every meal together, hanging out every single day. Like, so, yeah, it was nerve wracking. I'll never forget after dinner and being with the twins, going back out to my room and like, thank God they didn't show this, literally laying in bed, like so sad. And
Oh,
yeah, and the door was cracked a little bit. And one of the twins and somebody else was on the banister outside of the room when I was laying in the bed. And they were like, yo, like they haven't talked to each other all day. Like he's definitely gonna go. Like it was like chit chatter that like I was gonna go. And the the drop of being up here where we were with everything and then just that immediately like you know what I mean, like I think that's what was so like just yesterday we were like, you know, top couple, top this, everyone loves, you know what I mean, and then the next day I'm about to be out, like, so it was a long stressful day. And when you see me standing there getting ready for that elimination, that's the yeah, I just didn't know it was going to happen. I had not talked to him at all. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this just leads us into the elimination. So, um, we can see like up top, you know, you're feeling the emotions even before anyone
Yeah.
says anything. Like we can see your eyes are welling up, and I'm really feeling for you here. You know, did you know this was going to be Himbo's choice beforehand, like, or did you find out once everyone stood there?
We've, I believe we found. I think Stormy says it somewhere around like the Christmas pageant thing. Which which is why like some other side tea backing up to that trivia challenge for one of those episodes. Anytime that there was a chance that if the himbos won, they could pick their dates. Like I throw that trivia challenge. I don't say not one answer because I knew that Rico would pick me if the himbos won. Versus, remember that was the morning Ed got there. So if I won this trivia challenge with the
Mhm.
daddies and they let Ed pick first, I'd be fucked. So I was like, again, very strategic with these things. So when I think we knew, but there wasn't obviously anything I can do because of with
Of
it
course,
being
yeah.
his, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
there's only so much you can do with that information. Like, okay, you know, it's their choice. Like, you still can't change his mind. So
Hmm.
I was beside myself.
Yeah, listen, anytime they give me a Himbo's choice, a daddy's choice, I'm like, I smell a stunt. I smell a stunt coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then everyone kind of chooses kind of as we would assume. They're all
Yeah.
lined up kind of with who they're choosing, which I thought was
Very
it was
deliberate.
a little on the nose, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense having, you know, the full tension of the episode be towards the end of the line because of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
that's where it's going to be.
Mhm.
Before we get into Rico's kind of speech, back when he's in the confessional, he's talking about how, you know, he needs someone who's going to ride or die for him. He doesn't matter if he's in the wrong, you're in the wrong. I don't agree with that. I don't know about y'all, but personally for me, I prefer a partner who, you know, can talk me off a ledge, can tell me when I'm wrong and do so in a way that like not tell me down, but like be like, baby, you might be doing a little much. This is not kind of what's happened. You know,
Yeah.
not that I don't want to ride or die. I want someone who's gonna be with me, but I want someone who will definitely challenge me and tell me when I'm in the wrong, you know? So I
Yeah.
don't agree with that. How did you feel kind of hearing that?
I mean, you could see the way I felt, and
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
with the way, yeah, and I went the way with how I voted because especially now with you guys knowing what I just told you about, like my confidence journey and getting to love myself and loving who I am and the way I think and how I feel. Like I'm just coming into that chapter of my life, and now you want me to just side with whatever you say. Like I've never been
Mm-hmm.
that guy. I can never be that person.
Hmm.
And with as much as I was into Rico and so determined on this show and in this competition and to be here with him, that was the moment where I was like, I can't side with you. Like and I had my reasons, and it wasn't enough for anyone that was in that alliance. Everyone kind of thought that way. And I was like, I still stand by this. I did not come this far to trust myself and get this confident to just side with whatever someone thinks. Anyone, a friend, a boyfriend, like I have to think for me.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Like I was with you in terms of the way you voted because if you're close with Kane, you want to save that. And Hazel's
100%.
one of the newer people in the house. It makes sense just.
Yeah, I mean, and also what was so funny about that situation is it was like I don't even know what to call it, like a this is how I feel vote. Like it was already almost predetermined that everyone had felt like those people like that they should go home, that Nick should go home or whatever. But I was like, I don't want to get up there, right? It's like I don't feel even knowing that everyone else is voting their way. I was like, I still want to get up and I want to say what I want. Like this is what I feel. Like even if I'm
Exactly.
one
Hmm.
versus nine, like why not? Like and then you guys shouldn't be mad because I'm not turning the game. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like my vote's not sending him home. Like
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I
who I would
have
have
this
voted
in my
for.
notes. I
But
have in my notes. I said, why is Rico so mad? Because it's not like it really even. It's not like the vote was between them and then you and Rico. Like it really didn't affect them that
Hmm.
much.
yeah, and we had a altercation about this down by the water out back. I could have swore they would have got it on camera because everything was so laced with mics and cameras. But I guess they didn't. But we went in on this. It was a big deal, and I'm glad they showed it because it was a big deal, and it meant so much to him. And I was getting so close with Kane, and I stood by what I said, and I was trying to convince him to believe in why I was doing what I was doing. Like it was hard. It was like a tug of war thing with him. So it was difficult.
Yeah, and also from like a reality TV standpoint, it almost makes sense to keep a couple like Kane and Nick. Keep a couple who's less far along. Keep them a little towards the end because then it boasts how strong your couple is. Because you go look at
Yeah.
us, then look at them.
Yeah, I know, but with everyone finding something that they believe is real so fast, we started to play like "Get Out if you ain't real" type thing. That's how and
That's fair.
it's kind of no, it's kind of weird because if you're competing, you're supposed to be like trying to win. You should be doing like you said, like trying to keep someone who's not as connected in the game because the winner is supposed to be the most connected. Like it's such a mind fuck, it really really is.
Maybe it's I'm coming this survivor mindset. Keep someone weak with you along.
Hmm.
She let me a T-shirt. I can't send her home.
I mean, I think that's when it comes down to I keep saying like in interviews that the casting for this really like we just got so lucky because it was those connections and those moments where it was like like I fell in love with Derek and Anthony. And they were a strong ass couple. I was not going to put them in the box. Those are my people. Period. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. Like I'm not even thinking like, oh, send home the strongest couple because one of the strongest couples are my good friends. Like it wasn't going to happen. Like I was going to try to get them as far as I went. Like I really wanted them there. So and and I've had this conversation with daddies before at the premiere. We were like, what would have changed the game more than anything is if it was more money on the line. Like if it was like 500,000 or a million. I remember Jimmy was like, yeah, all the alliances that we had would have been opposite. It would have been so different.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, like it was, so people were keeping their like their dignity intact in a way more than anything.
Well, we're gonna see the season if the season 3 prize money goes up. Season 3, season 4, raise
Yeah.
that money.
Right.
We'll see the teeth come out. I'm ready for the
They will. People
claws.
will be vicious
Hmm.
because I'm telling. Like that's why some of these other shows, like the money is up there. Like there's a difference between a cute check and life changing money. So I think that that's where some of our and our decisions kind of were altered around that for sure. Like we definitely talked about that off camera. We're like, oh, it would be a whole different game if a mill was on the line.
100%. Yeah. Like a show like Are You the One? where the couples are like penalized and the prize money goes down. Like you can see the way that they act because of that, you know, which is another show we might recap when once we're done with this in season 1 of For the Love of Dilfs. You never know. We're thinking about some shit that we could recap after this.
Yes.
Keep Baby Daddies going. Amari, what were you thinking during this elimination? Because when we were watching, we had words. We were talking.
We did have a lot of words. I think I even had to pause it at one point. I was like, okay, we need to talk about the sentences that was just said. I completely agree with you, Rico, with the whole, like, I wrote in my notes, the first time he said, I need to ride and die. I was like, hold up, baby, why we gotta die? Why can't we just be friends? Like, and the Apple caption showed it too, ride and die before you clock me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy because Jake, like you were saying, like, you know, I want someone to check me. Like, yeah, I know I've been ready to box like 80-year-old women in the Walgreens for, like, you know, making homophobic comments. And my boyfriend's like, is it worth going to jail? Like, she gonna die next week. Like, just let it go. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let it go. It's okay.
I'm a Virgo. I am loud and wrong sometimes because I think I'm always right. Okay, so I need someone who's gonna calm me down like that.
Even worse than a Virgo, I'm a May Gemini. Like, that puts me in with Azalea Banks and Kanye. Like, that should tell you everything. And Nigel, I also agreed with you. Like, I don't think it's worth like choosing whatever your man says like 100% of the time, because like friendships are also important. And I'm not one of them girls who forget about my friends when I get a man. So to also bring that point back.
Yeah, we had a lot to say during this elimination. That's why I'm like, the first time we watch it, we don't take notes. So we'll watch it together and then I'll take my notes on like a second or third rewatch. But yeah, we had words.
You know, a lot of people did. They have been telling me.
Oh no, but you know, we're team Nigel Rico all the way. So.
Oh yay!
Since day one.
Yeah, but I will say this was a red flag for me on Rico's side. I was like, no, I need someone who's you know, definitely gonna not be afraid to tell me when I'm wrong. Because that's okay. You know, couples should be able to do that. But I do appreciate Rico's like, you know, I'm not dumb. I'm not gonna risk something with some guy I've known for a couple hours versus someone I know who's down for me 100%. And you see Keith in the back crying, which that's me. I'm like, if other people are crying, just seeing people cry, there's a 70% chance I'm gonna start crying. So I'm like Keith in the back. I'm like, ugh.
Listen, there behind the cameras, there's probably like 14, 15 people all crying. Like the whole room was crying. Sobbing. And for me, that night was such an out of body experience. Like I could not remember it. You know, I don't even know what happened until I was watching it because it was too much for me. It was a lot. That moment was so much more than Rico. I had come into the mansion so fragile. I had lost a boyfriend before that. I lost my mom 4 months before going into the mansion. So I was a very mentally drained, brokenhearted person fighting grief while competing in the mansion and falling in love all at the same time. And this moment was so much more than Rico making a choice or me not getting the guy I want. This was like me crumbling from life. And the cameras were there. And I'll never forget, as much as I love being on the show and I love all those things, being on camera, all those things I love doing, I love entertaining, all that stuff. That was the one time in my life I just wanted to not be on set. And even when we started that scene, it took me a while to get on set. Like they were lined up waiting for me because I was like, I cannot do this. Like I've been through too much. I'm too hurt. I can't. It was too much. So I just want to reiterate that for people because so many people are like, girl, like relax. And it's not about that. It's like there was more that happened before I stepped onto the set and came into this mansion. And I carried all of that into this scene. I shouldn't have. But I did, and I couldn't help it. You know, I hope people realize, like, I did not plan to react that way. That was something that bursted out of me. And if I could have decided to keep it in or switched it off, I would have. But it is what it is at this point, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, because we can tell, like, even in this scene, like, there's no hiding, there's no keeping it away, you know, because when we can see you're like up front, you're trying to keep it together, right? And then when he says you're my bear, you're my oso, that's when the spot and you know,
and that's why I cover my face because again, like any other scene, I'm like, let's do the scene. Like we're happy, we're sad, we're angry. But that was the one day on set where I was like, can we not fucking do this? Like
Yeah.
I can't. I couldn't believe that this was my scene, my story, my life. Like it was all one thing, and I could not deal. Like
I mean, that's that pressure cooker. I'm like, I'm
it
not gonna
got
fault
me.
you for
It
keeping
got
those
me.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think you're wrong for keeping, for feeling all the feelings that you were feeling during the show and before the show. Like,
Yeah.
that's part of reality TV is you're coming in here from your life. You're not just coming in and acting, you're
And I
bringing
wish
all that
people
with
thought
you.
about that more. Yeah, I feel like people a lot of always leave that out, like as if my life started when I entered Dilf Mansion. Like, no,
Yeah.
girl, like no.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's just, if you're a viewer, you're kind of wondering why things happen like that. I just want people to have a little more grace for people that are on reality TV. And this is not just for this show. This is for like every show. Because I
Yeah,
watch a lot of reality TV and I love it. But you
yeah,
got to remember, like, these are
Mhm.
real people, and the emotions that we see on camera aren't just things that happen on the show. These are things that people are bringing from outside. Everyone's got different insecurities, different feelings about things. So I just, it's good to remember that.
yeah. And it's also good to remember that people have lost their lives from this before too, and it's pushed a need to have mental therapists on sets like this because of how people feel
Mhm.
while they're filming and when they get home and watch their edit. So they take it very seriously, and I grew very close with the therapist on set. I took my mental health very seriously. I knew I came in very fragile. So while it may look like I'm completely losing it, that was actually like me, like keeping it the best together, in so many ways. To just stand up there and go through that just took every ounce of strength that I had left, and I didn't have a lot left. So definitely really hard to watch, but
I mean, it's tough, but you made it through.
I
You
did.
made it through.
I
Amen.
did. Yeah, I went
Let's
right to the
celebrate
kitchen.
that.
I
We
know. I know. I really, after that day, I really started to practice gratitude in that mansion. Like I was, like I said in the battle scene before the casino, like it is time to get out the fairy tale. Like whatever I got to do to play the game now, we got to play because I was not awake those first couple episodes. And I just thought I was just gonna get on by, and that's not the case. So
Yeah.
I was so grateful to keep going, and that was close to our dark day. So we had the 5-6 days consisted of filming, and then that next day was a day off. And I remember thinking, like, if he sends me home before this day off that I earned,
Ooh.
I'm gonna have a fit. But I made it, and we immediately because we partied on the day off, and it was so much fun. So I was a great like we celebrated for real the next day. We woke up because we were all off.
Amen.
Yeah.
As the girls say, it's a new day in the workroom and there's a fire lit under my ass,
I was not. Yeah, it changed the whole. That moment changed the whole game for me for sure.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see what happens next. I can't wait.
Mhm.
I cannot
I'm
wait.
s-
I'm lapping
Oh
it
my
I am
up.
so glad
gosh.
you stayed because Rico had us going. It was like this whole drawn out speech. There was the crash cymbals going. There was all the
Every
they
time
put
the
every sound effects. Like, oh my God,
And
I was so nervous.
I'll give you this also, a little side bit. He did list another reason in his speech as to why Matt wasn't chosen. And this one, I'm glad they didn't show my face because I really thought I had no chance. But when I heard this being one of the reasons, I was like, like I might stay. Like, so on their dinner date, that remember I was with the twins. I was not with Rico when they had their dinner together. Matt was on a dating app, or it popped open, or it was seen during the conversation at one point, allegedly. And that stuck in Rico's mind when he was up there because obviously, like, I never once looked at my shit when I was in there. Like, the minute I met him, I was all about, and you could see
hmm
that it's not even something I have to prove because you could see that I'm all about him. I don't think that was the case with Matt. He was literally in one foot playing the game and another foot, like, what's going on in Fort Lauderdale on the streets? I might be out there tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
so that played a factor into his decision. And then when I heard that up at the Malaysian panel, I was like, "Ah, I might have a chance because that's big. I've never broke his loyalty or trust in that way. And, like, so that was a little juicy tea.
Clock it. Clock
Clock that T.
it. Clock
Damn.
it.
Imagining like about to meet the bear of your life, win $10,000 and like, boo-doo-doo. goes off on your phone.
Oh
Like,
hell no!
I don't even think it was a sound. But I don't even know if the actual app was open. But regardless, even just if the phone's open and it's there and it's being messed with in any way, like how disrespectful,
mhm.
like in any sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, but also like not smart, like you like, but it
yeah.
is what it
Damn.
Well,
is. It kept me
also,
there.
if you have not seen this video, go to Nigel's Instagram and watch the reel that he posted. It's him, Hazel, and one of the twins. No, no, not one of the twins. It's Marcus. It's
Marcus.
Marcus. It's the three of them eating strawberries, talking about they're like, "Don't watch episode 5." You're like, "Don't watch it."
Completely. I'm like a shaken puppy in that video. That was me, like, context out. I finished my confessionals. I finished the day. After the confession, they would send like a pizza to the kitchen. Like there was like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but
Mhm.
then you would get like an after confessional pizza snack like later at like 11:30. That was that time. And I was always in the kitchen, like getting my slices, eating the snacks. And so that
Mhm.
was and Hazel, when Hazel got into the house, Hazel is like the TikTok queen. So like it was so funny because she got so many behind the scenes videos, and when everything was said and done, she sent us like a folder, and I have like 40 of those of her just getting the moment. And I'm like, I love that you were there because I was too stressed to get behind the scenes content most of the time. Like, and she got so much. And yeah, that showed our friendships. Like we were always in the kitchen kicking it like that, like just laughing, but then like whispering because when confessionals are going on at the end of the night, if you're loud, the sound will travel into those rooms. So everyone's like whispering for like 3 hours in the middle of the night. It's so funny because we're all like on edge and having wine and having food. So it's a lot of fun. That video shows that.
Yeah, that's a great video. I hope we get to see more. Those are really fun.
I'm gonna post a lot more.
Oh, good. I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Nigel, thank you again so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me, and I apologize for all the stress I gave you guys. But a bitch is still here. We're gonna push through, and we'll see what
Uh-huh.
happens, right?
Amen.
Yes.
Nigel, do you want to let the people know where they can follow you? Do you have anything to promote? Obviously, Daddy Chat. Go watch that if you haven't
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Nigel Battle on YouTube. Daddy Chat brings on the contestants from season 2. I'm definitely going to go forward that also, and get on season 1 baddies too, just to kind of talk about the experience. Like I said, there's so much that happens behind the scenes that there's so much still to talk about. So why not do that? And then just in general, like I run that variety channel over there. It's super fun. And then on Instagram, Nigel Battle Official. Get them behind the scenes thirst traps, get the stories, get the
Mm.
links. I'm doing it all, so come play.
Amen. Mario, where's the booty do the origami at?
The booty do the origami onto twitter.com. If you want to see me trap some thirst, you can see it there. And you can also see me be cute and cuddly on Instagram at booty origami.
Amen. My name is Jake. You can follow me at Poison Touch Pod to get all things advice related from my other podcast, the Poison Touch Advice Hour, where Gay and his friends give you all the best and worst advice to deal with all of life's predicaments. If you want to see some personal stuff, you can follow me at Krokunk. I mostly talk about X-Men and Pokemon on my Twitter. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. And by the time this episode comes out, my episode with Mario for Poison Touch will be out. We are talking some Reddit stories and also talking a bit about Baby Daddies. So, go listen. It's a fun one. And we'll catch y'all next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.